Right across the meningitis belt, every season, people are on tenterhooks, waiting, suspecting that they're going to be hit by an epidemic. When an epidemic hits, then there's many deaths and many people with long-term disabilities. It's psychologically, physically, and financially devastating for these communities. And we've done the best that we could with the tools available, the treatment and the vaccine available, but there was a limit to what could be achieved. First, we have to detect the epidemic. Then we have to import the vaccines. And it leaves us not very much time to implement a vaccination campaign. This vaccine changes everything. It's a revolution in the way that meningitis will be managed. The key difference is that it gives a long-lasting and high immunity against the meningitis bacteria, which means instead of running after epidemics once they've taken off, we can vaccinate the entire population before, and we can hopefully prevent the epidemics from taking place at all. This vaccine we can also use in younger children, but most importantly, it will stop transmission of the bacteria that causes the meningitis, and it will give what's called a herd immunity, so those people who are vaccinated will protect those who are non-vaccinated. This vaccine is specifically for meningitis A that caused the major part of the large epidemics across the meningitis belt. It doesn't protect against all types of meningitis, so this may be difficult for people to understand, that they're vaccinated to get meningitis, but only one type of meningitis. The first stage of the implementation is to vaccinate everybody in a country between 1-year-old and 29 years old. Then we need to keep up the vaccination for the new people coming into that age group, either through implementing it into the regular vaccination services or by doing other catch-up campaigns.
Once you introduce something very new, whether it's a vaccine or a drug, you still have a few years to try to see exactly the impact, the problems, the obstacles. So we still have to learn on that. And we might see a simplification in the vaccination campaign, but not before a few years. To be able to do preventive campaigns will lower the pressure on the teams, because you can plan much better, because it's not during a crisis, it's not during an emergency. It's going to be less problematic to implement in terms of workload. So that's the big difference. The problem will be for local population to absolutely understand that they have to come to a vaccination site to get vaccinated. Because one positive aspect of an epidemic is that everyone is so scared to catch the disease that they run after the vaccines, and you have less problem of getting people mobilized.
Historically, we've been extremely involved right across the meningitis belt, tackling meningitis epidemics, because it poses an enormous challenge for these countries, so we've been assisting these countries for many, many years. Most of the funding for these first 3 countries is there, but the enormous gap in funding is for all the other countries across the meningitis belt. The funds need to be available to take advantage of this fantastic tool, which will eventually save money, because we're not chasing after epidemics. Those people who live there will change their lives. It's really a revolution. It will change everything if done properly. It will really change the face of meningitis epidemics. It means between January and May, they don't need to be concerned and worried about this disease that devastates their communities.